Welcome back to Dash for Adventure. Today, we are visiting some place unique in this world. At one time, it held world records. It was the location of the manufacture of something that changed the history of humankind. Stick around. We're in Oak Ridge, Tennessee today. We're gonna find a little bit of history. There's a hidden history out here in these hills, tucked deep into the Appalachian Mountains in northern Tennessee. A history that changed the entire world. Coming up next. Check out that bridge though, isn't that cool? It's an old 2-lane road bridge. We're at the Heritage Center. We're gonna find out just what the heritage is of this area. At one time, there was so much manufacturing going on here. There were tens of thousands of employees here, way back in the early 1900s. They were all housed in one of the largest buildings on the face of the planet. Look at those passenger cars on the rail tracks. As a matter of fact, there was a time when you would go through that gate right there to get in here. And if you were caught taking photographs, you'd probably be in prison for life.
Your destination is on the right.
If they had had cell phones back in the day, and you'd been caught looking around a tree like this, you'd probably been shot. Are you working every day? Stay on the job and finish the job. These were actual signs. Look at that. We'll swap. Foxhole home with outside exposure. Neighbors, sometimes noisy. And here it is. Who, me? Yes, you. Keep mum about this job. One of the most top secret places on earth was right here. K-25. Don't know what it is? I don't either. Let's go figure it out together. Look at this. So that building there says K-25 over there. And then if you look off in the distance, you can see what looks like the old foundation of a massive building. And it may have been the building that was out there that we're here to find out about. Let's go into this Heritage Center and see what we can find out.
We got shopping.
All right. Paula wants that. Look at these bugs. So look at this building. A big U-shaped building that was right here.
I see a tie over there for you.
I see stuff like this all the time. Uh-oh, we've got clearance. The briefing room. My grandfather flew in a, where's it at? There it is. My grandfather was a tail gunner. Actually, would have been here. Was a tail gunner in the Flying Fortress. during World War II. I miss him. Yeah, put your card in there for clearance.
You're preparing to enter a site that is crucial to the war effort. Security is our highest priority. As you move through the plant, you will need your card to gain access, to learn about the operations here, and to understand the critical role this facility plays in the defense of our nation. Enjoy your visit to K-25.
What you see here, what you do here, what you hear here, when you leave here, let it stay here. That sounds like a rock and roll song if you've ever heard one.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Lights. What we are about to discuss is one of the most closely guarded enterprises of the war. It is about using the power of the atom as a weapon. No mention of this has been allowed under the newspaper and radio code of the Office of Censorship. What you learn today, you can tell no one. Roll the film.
The Manhattan Project. Cool. Eminent domain just seems like it has ripped Tennessee apart many times throughout history. Look at this. 1,000 families were ordered to leave when the Manhattan Project came to town. The entire wheat community was removed. Imagine living like that in hutments. An entire neighborhood of small huts and tens of thousands of people required to work at Clinton Engineer Works. Oak Ridge became the secret city because of the Manhattan Project. They had to build the buildings, engineering, and everything just to be part of the Manhattan Project, which was located at several locations around the United States. Oak Ridge was just one of the locations. 75,000 people lived in Oak Ridge at its peak. And K-25 was one of 4 plants used to build the Manhattan Project. K-25 specifically was used to enrich plutonium into weapons-grade materials. On July 16th, 1945, a test was conducted for the implosion-type weapon, the Gadget, at Alamogordo, New Mexico, known as the Trinity Test. The brilliant theoretical physicist behind all of it was J. Robert Oppenheimer. This past weekend, we drove all the way up to Radar Base, which was just one of many places that Oppenheimer oversaw in the testing and development of nuclear weapons. On August 6, 1945, the world changed forever. The United States dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima, Japan. This is a replica of Little Boy, the very first ever nuclear weapon developed by the United States. Wow. They had issues in enriching the plutonium here, but after they worked out all those issues, and the scientists believed there was enough uranium-235 to fuel an atomic weapon, they had 3 different companies build 3 parts of the bomb, so that no one company knew exactly what it was they were building. And when it assembled, it was 10 feet long and weighed over 9,700 pounds. They didn't even do a test on this particular bomb. They built it and sent it to Japan in the Enola Gay. Wow. I would not have wanted to have been in Japan on that day. As terrible as it may be, or whatever your opinion might be of nuclear, it did end the war almost instantaneously. Within 3 days, Japan signed a surrender on a battleship. I can't remember the name of the battleship, but I've actually stood on the spot where they signed the surrender. That ship is moored at Pearl Bay now. How appropriate. Clinton Engineer Works was the company that was set up to build the entire project over here in Oak Ridge. And they chose it because of its water, resources, remoteness, and topographical protection, hidden amongst the Appalachian Mountains. Man, there's a story to be told. The legend says, 40 years before Clinton Engineer Works, a man foretold of a city to come. Around 1900, John Hendricks lived with his wife and 5 children in Bear Creek Valley. After tragedy struck his family, his wife left with his other children, and out of grief, Hendricks turned to religion and prayed to God for a vision. And supposedly a voice told him to sleep on the ground for 40 nights, and after, the future would be revealed. And Hendricks went into the woods and stayed for 40 days and nights. Returning to the community, he told his neighbors of his vision. Factories, buildings, a city, a railroad, and thousands of workers would someday fill the land. No one believed him. 27 years after he died, Clinton Engineer Works appeared. So this is K-25. Look at the footprint of that massive building. Lisa Meitner, one of the most significant female physicists in history. She studied on the neutron bombardment of uranium, and when Germany annexed Austria, Meitner, of Jewish ancestry, fled to Stockholm. And when she was invited to work at Los Alamos, she refused, saying, "I will have nothing to do with a bomb." And her headstone today reads, Lisa Meitner, a physicist who never lost her humanity. You can see all the different cities where the Manhattan Project took place, from Richard, Washington, to Los Alamos, Alamogordo, where the Trinity Project, Oak Ridge, where the enrichment took place, Rochester, Chicago. All these different places had something to do with developing nuclear weapons, but it was Oak Ridge, Tennessee, Los Alamos, and Richland that took the lead in developing nuclear weapons for the United States. Clinton Engineer Works was considered Site X. Los Alamos Laboratory in New Mexico was considered Project Y, and Hanford Engineer Works was Site W in Washington. Leo Szilard, Hungarian physicist, with Einstein pictured there. Hey, look, there's blueprints. Wow. I grew up with an art table, a drafting table like this. My dad always had one of these, a triangle and T-square and rulers, an eraser brush. I wish I had one of those today. They kept the entire thing a secret to only the people that needed to know. They're part of construction, planning, development, and the entire process. We couldn't do that today if we tried. Wow. So we were in the middle of World War II when we started our process to develop nuclear weapons. And it only took 3 years. But to do it, we spent millions. And we bet and gambled on 3 different processes of enrichment. Because U-235 is only available in about 0.7% naturally, we had to separate it from the more common U-238 and somehow come up with a more than 90% enrichment. So K-25 was gaseous diffusion, and then we also did electromagnetic separation at the Y-12 plant and liquid thermal diffusion at the S-50 plant, all right here in Oak Ridge. But it was the K-25 plant that was the largest plant enriching uranium. Wow. Between the facilities of S-50, K-25, and Y-12, we learned how to enrich uranium. And rather than it being one process, we used several processes until we enriched enough uranium to create a weapon. 75,000 people, millions upon millions and millions of dollars in less than 3 years. We took theoretical physicist knowledge and created a weapon that provided nuclear weapons to the world. Wow. This building is kind of freaky in a way because it tells you everything you need to know to enrich plutonium. I thought that would have been a top secret information. Here's an example of how you separate uranium-235 from 238. They would use different processes from liquid to gaseous to electromagnetic to try to separate the smaller, lighter 235 from the heavier 238. And it wasn't that simple. The K-25 building had all those individual units built to separate 235 from uranium-238. I mean, think about it. This was in 1943. Ooh, did you hear that lightning? I mean, that thunder? Yep, there's a storm over top of us. But think about this. In 1943, we developed nuclear-grade weapons in under 3 years. And people don't think we made it to the moon by 1969. The level of intelligence that humankind has had for literally thousands of years is beyond comprehension to most. Wow, I had forgotten about that part of history, but part of the enormously large K-25 factory, part of the process was not even required. It was there to throw off anybody that might be there spying and working undercover.
But now they're going to tell you everything.
And now they're going to show you everything about it. But keep in mind, this is the way we did it in World War II. Modern nuclear weapons are not built this way. This was how we did it back then. Very, very devastating, but small nuclear weapons compared to what we have today. That's cool. Paula just pointed out that K stood for Kellex Corporation, and 25 was the World War II code name for uranium-235. 25, K-25. My grandfather used to bring home these insulators, the green ones. My grandfather, Edwards. This history is absolutely amazing. I bet I can't type 160 words a minute on that one. I wonder if you can pick up internet radio with that. Highly doubt it. Classified waste only.
It's not a mailbox. Well, I don't know. Some
This is
mail is classified waste.
Right. So this is what they used instead of a shredder back in the day. They would burn it. You could ride your bicycle around campus. I am not even sure what this yellow thing is. That's the fire truck? Wow.
It sprayed fluorinated water to stop a critically uncontrolled nuclear reaction caused by radioactive materials being too close together. Since
Borated
there was
water.
never a critically at K-25. This unit was never used for its intended purpose.
But this is the actual unit that they had on hand in case there was a nuclear meltdown. Wow.
That they never had to use.
Thankfully, they never had to use it. Or we'd be telling a different story today. And this tells the story about the new chapter for the K-25 site. So after the U.S. Department of Energy shut down the uranium enrichment operations here, they refocused on cleaning the land for reuse. So imagine, this land was pretty much exposed to radiation for years. They demolished more than 500 structures and shipped 6,000 depleted uranium hexafluoride cylinders and removed more than 50,000 dump truck loads of soil. Where they moved it to, I don't know. How much soil is 50,000 truckloads? That's 554,000 cubic yards, which is 311 feet tall and 300 feet wide and 160 feet. It would be like moving Neyland Stadium full of soil just to remediate the land. Where did they move it to? Because I don't want to go there. No matter what you may think of the Manhattan Project, it was complex and full of contradictions. Nuclear fission provided the means to end World War, but it also could have provided the potential for nuclear holocaust during the Cold War. We've learned how to do nuclear energy, CAT scans, MRIs, radiation treatments for cancer, and so many other benefits. And today, 19.5% of power generation in the United States comes from nuclear power. I've even worked at a nuclear power plant. For a short moment, I did computer work at Watts Bar Nuclear Power Plant here in Tennessee. It's truly amazing how quick we went from theoretical fission experiments in 1938 to dropping a bomb in Hiroshima on August 9th, 1945. 7 years. We took a theory and we changed the world forever. And then over the years, other countries developed their own nuclear weapons. We continued to increase ours. And forever, nuclear is part of our world. We're going from the museum to the K-25 project building. This is mind-boggling. It really is. It took all three of those processes. And K-25 was just the largest of the three processes to actually enrich uranium to the point that it was weapons grade.
Is that an atom?
Maybe a model depicting one. Let's go see.
Yes.
Achieving the visions. Oh, this is to represent the soil remediation and the demolition of all unneeded facilities. They removed all of it. You can tell, you can see all that's left is like some asphalt roads and not much out here. So this is the K-25 building, at least what's left of it, or what they replaced it with. Let's go check it out. Welcome to K-25, the interpretive center inside exploration. Okay, now this is cool. So we were just in the history center, and now we are over at the K-25 interpretive center, and this overlay is right here. So the entire massive building, the largest building in the entire Manhattan Project, and at one point, the largest building in the entire world was right here. So let's look around the corner. This was it.
Wow. So
It went all the way out there and then all the way back to here. And it was 4 stories tall. It was massive.
So that was part of the building, or they tore it down and rebuilt it?
Well, what, the History Center?
Yeah, because look. It's right there. So, well, it wasn't part of the building. It was probably the entrance building. Until the building
It may have
started
actually been
right
part
here
of
at
it.
the gate then.
It may have been part of an office or something there, because it looks like.
There's the parking lot, but look,
Yep.
here's the gate, which is the gate right here, and that's where it
Yep.
started, right beside us.
Wow. And then there's the trains that would bring in material and take out material to other facilities. Because this was just the enrichment process at K-25. There were 2 other facilities in Oak Ridge that helped the enrichment process. Imagine that. Taking gravel and rock they brought in from the Belgian Congo, bringing it to the United States, to Oak Ridge in the middle of the Appalachian Mountains, and enriching it. Being an interpretive center, I'm guessing it's more for events. But there is a model upstairs we're going to go check out. Look inside K-25 and you'll see Paula. That's cool. Level 1, the basement. Level 2, the cell floor. Level 3, the pipe gallery. Level 4, the operating floor.
Which way will it open?
We're gonna go see something up here. It's opening on the backside, and look at that.
Whoa.
That is massive. Small, but it's massive. Oh, wow. So it was located out there. So where we're at, on the 2nd floor of the Interpretive Center, Paula was saying, she pointed out that they've got it painted on this wall. So we are actually right below the 4th floor, which was the operating floor with the instrument panel boards. It was a monumental building with skilled workforce, cutting-edge technology, and this place has a historic view. Look at this. This was the site of K-25. You can see over there, there's where the building was, right there. And this would have been the center of the building here. And then over there you can see that it was right over there, the other side of the U shape. And then the back end of the U was so far you can't really even see it from here. It's way over there. That's why they provide these binoculars. I don't think my camera works good in this, but let's try it. Wow. It worked. Wow. That's cool. One of the cool things about this plant, the way it was designed, they started construction on this while they were still wrapping up theoretical testing on how it was going to work. Meaning that while they were doing all the grading on the ground to get it flat to build these buildings, they weren't even sure yet how they were going to operate it. And even more amazing, as they were building this massive building, and let's say they let's say they had the first 20 sections over here built, but they didn't have the rest of it built. These 20 sections could start operations and start working. And then as they built more and more sections came online. And the enrichment got better and better as the entire building grew. Man, don't ever tell me humans are not smart at different points in our history. That is an amazing accomplishment. All the things going on here, you got to remember, men were off to work fighting a war. And that means women enter the workforce. And many of them had mathematics degrees, and they worked as human calculators. And then they were laboratory technicians, drivers, couriers, process operators, and they also did the labor work. We did amazing things to win World War II. I've always wanted to come here and visit this. We don't live too far, but it's always been a joke in my lifetime. If there was ever a nuclear war, especially when I was younger, growing up in the Cold War, we knew this place would be hit. I don't know if that's true anymore, because weapons-grade nuclear stuff is probably not made here. We focus more on energy now, at least here. Not sure where our nuclear weapons are manufactured. It's probably best no one knows. This is pretty interesting because this fence looks like temporary fencing, and it's not really here to block anything, and it says safe walkway. Oh, wow. You can walk out here? That's pretty cool. We were right up there a few moments ago. So this is where the building was, or the left side. Look at this. This is part of the building, the original building here. You can see some of the original. Look at that. Wow. Rebar, reinforcement steel inside of the concrete. You can see the concrete is aged. I'll be honest with you, it feels weird touching this type of history. And knowing that the largest building in the world at the time sat right here and enriched the plutonium that built the atomic bomb that was dropped in Japan, August 9th, 1945. I have to admit, I was terrible at history when I was in school. Failed it, actually, a couple of times. But ever since high school, I have been engrossed in history. It's just interesting now. I don't know why. I didn't care for it in school, but I love it now. Hey, Paula. Where'd you go? Hey. This door's locked. Yeah, I know too.
I was coming.
Yeah.
She said, "You don't think he's going to try to come back in, do you?" I'm like, "Nah, he's out there waiting on me." And then I come out here and you're gone. I'm like, "Oops, he went back in."
Yeah, I walked all the way around the building to get back in. I walked out there.
Yeah, that's where I was looking for you. I figured you were out there
Yeah,
wandering around.
you can walk out there.
Starting to glow.
Oh, yeah. I'm radioactive.
Whoop.
Radioactive.
You can't get in any door but the ones we came.
Yeah, that's why I'm holding this door open. So I think we have found the most unique stuffed animals in the world.
This is testosterone.
That's testosterone?
Yep. He's
And then
mad.
look at this. This is ADHD. What is that?
This is placenta.
Placenta. What is this? This is
Uterus.
uterus.
This is endometriosis.
That's endometriosis. And then what is this?
Ooh, what's this one? COVID-19.
There's COVID-19. He made it to the stuffed animal thing. Oh, look, this is
That's
a hurricane.
Ooh, what's this one? Bipolar disorder.
But what is this? This is a gallbladder.
Gallbladder.
I'm telling you, somebody went into ChatGPT and said, I own a stuffed animal company. What is the most unique stuffed animals I can create?
What's the diabetes?
Diabetes. All right. If you want some of the most unique stuffed animals in the entire world,
Oh, this is caffeine.
just come here. There's caffeine.
I like caffeine.
Man, that was so educational and entertaining and knowledgeable. I enjoyed that. Did you?
Yep. Uh-huh.
Look at this. So this is sitting out in front of the building we were just in. I'm betting this is one of the gaseous chambers. Let's see. Department of Energy, Oak Ridge office. As part of a contract with Department of Energy, Oak Ridge Operations, BNFL project was responsible for decontamination and decommissioning of 3 gaseous diffusion buildings. This specific converter is similar to the converters found in the facilities formerly known as the K-25 site. So yeah, this is one of the converters were barrier tubes that acted as filters used to separate the heavier U-238 isotope from the lighter U-235 isotopes. And this was one of the gaseous chambers.
Whoever built this laid a good bead.
I know, right? whoever built this laid a good bead, she says. A woman that knows about welding. Obviously, these are not the original ones. They built these as replicas. So that entire building was just full of hundreds, if not thousands of these converters. 1,500, actually. There were over 1,500 of these. 1,500 converters.
There was a picture somewhere, either in this building or that building, that had showed all of the converters piled up for them to get ready to move them out.
Wow. I wonder if that's dirty dirt. We want to go down the street. It was something we wanted to see down there. Here we go. Let's go check this out. So there's the 2 buildings we were at just a few moments ago. Wow. Some type of sculpture. There's the sign for the sculpture. The Phoenix, past as prelude. Look, it gives a whole new meaning to Rockhead. Wow. So this building was originally built in 1954, and it looks like it might have been some kind of employee verification building or something. There is one major interesting thing here. They have reimagined this building and rededicated it for community use. So this is a cool building, and it even looks like an old school employee verification place. Look at the gate to get in there. But
The windows would be open here on each side of this pole.
right? Oh yeah, right here.
Yeah.
You could pass through and show them your verification badges. And then on the way, and then there's the trains that would,
The buses would probably pick people up here and
Yep.
take them to work.
because the buildings were massive. But the cool thing that I wanted to stop here, because we did just spend a weekend at Windrock. Look at this beauty here.
1945 Willis.
1945 Willis.
Yeah.
Look at that. An interesting thing about the Jeep, it was tested at Fort Oglethorpe, just across the state line in Georgia, down near Chickamauga Battlefield. We may go there one day, check that part of it out, find the history from there. But for now, look at this beautiful Jeep.
The plaque for it.
There is no way that thing was comfy. Woo!
Built by Willis, Overland Motors, restored by Daniel Karowski. I'm sorry if I
Karkowski.
butchered that.
Daniel
And
Kurkowski.
Richard,
Scarlavi.
donated by...
Croet. Croet. Guys, thank you so much for joining us here at the K-25 site. We might come back and explore some of the other areas up here in Oak Ridge someday. But for now, that was our trip here. We appreciate every one of you guys, and we'll see you in the comments.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Goodbye. Look what we found.